Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Bjorn, and today I'm going to solve the age-old question that I get asked fairly often as a YouTuber and as a streamer. What planes in the tech tree, or more or less, what lines should I grind? And we'll start off here with one of my favorites, which is the Corsair. This is the Tier 6 Corsair. But let's check the tech trees out. We're going to look at America. In this tech tree, now don't get me wrong, this line, it's kind of fun, but it can be kind of frustrating. So I wouldn't waste my time. The heavy fighter line, it gets kind of bad with the P-38J and the F-7F, but it gets a little bit better as you go. So I would actually probably grind this line. So far, I'm on the P-38F, and so far that's been my favorite heavy fighter. But honestly, if you're gonna pick anything in the American tech tree, the multi-role line, and if you're gonna grind any multi-role line, this is the line to grind. The first couple planes is all right. It gets pretty bad at the Brewster Buffalo. I despise the Brewster Buffalo. The F7 or the F4F, it was all rightish. It wasn't the best, but then it gets really good with the Corsairs, especially the tier 6, 7, and even the tier 8 Corsair is pretty damn good. The Starfire I feel is kind of lackluster. It's got powerful, the rockets are powerful, the minigun's powerful, but it's got a lot of shortcomings that doesn't make it my favorite plane. But this line is definitely worth grinding to tier 8. I still have yet to get the Pirate, and I think I'm actually going to try to grab the Pirate. Next line, we're going to look at the USSR line. And a lot of people ask me about ground attacks. I haven't gone far up this line. I'm going to go by what I've seen, and honestly, with this line, this is the line to grind to tier 10 for ground attacks. They're kind of bad at first. You get tail guns early. But then with the BSH-2 and the IL-2, you lose the tail guns, which is very unfortunate. You're pretty much defenseless unless someone's watching your back. The IL-2T, I feel, is really amazing. The ordnance is pretty damn good. The firepower is pretty good for taking out even heavier structures. And it's got pretty good bombs and pretty good rockets. It gets pretty bad here at Tier 7. There's people, I'm trying to remember which one was the one to get. I think it's the IL-8. Check here really quick. Yeah, see, I'd actually probably get the IL-8 out of either one of those and just continue on the line. Another line to grind to. Germany. A lot of people tell me German heavy line. There's also a lot of people who tell me don't bother. The ME410 is pretty damn good. Still working towards the BF109Z. It looks very good, but with some people it seems like it becomes lackluster at tier 8. If you're going to grind up a fire line in the German line, get the BFs, especially the tier 4 and the tier 5. The line becomes a little lackluster at tier 6 and tier 7, but then it picks up again, and these are actually pretty good fighters, these three right here. So I'd go up this line for fighters. Now these are more of a high energy fighter versus a turn and burn, and I'll get to that later. With the Japanese, I would actually recommend the Japanese fighter, the Army fighter line, honestly. It's not the best to start with, but once you get to the KI-61, the KI-61 is actually not bad. The KI-84 is even better. The KI-94 too, it's not bad, but it's not impressive. And then you get to the KI-162-1 and the KI-162-3. They're obviously turn and burns. They're not bad, but they're not great either. It's just one of those lines. It's not bad, but it's not great. for the UK. I wouldn't recommend. Well, I could recommend this line here, the multi rolls. None of these multi rolls are bad, especially the Hurricane 2 and the Tornado, and even the Hurricane 1 was pretty good. The problem with this line is, as you can see, it doesn't go to tier 10. It just goes back into Spitfires. This line here, I haven't persisted far, and I've been hearing mixed stuff about this line. A lot of people says the Javelin is pretty good, though, so it may be worth grinding to grab the Javelin. The bow fighter's not bad. I've seen some impressive stuff from Mosquito players, and I've seen some impressive stuff from Hornet players. So I would say it's mixed up until you grab the Javelin. But the real line here to really grind is the Spitfire line. These are probably the most noob-friendly planes in the game, and they will get you far. They're all turn and burn aircraft, but they're not, unlike their Japanese counterparts that turn a little bit better, these are a little bit tougher. They're more durable planes, especially the Spit 5. The Spit 5 is pretty amazing, and the Spit 1, and even the Spit 5 is amazing. To me, the line becomes lackluster at 7 and 8. The attacker, the firepower is lackluster, but the plane's actually fairly solid. And I'm working my way towards the Swift. Now, I've been hearing mixed things about the Swift, so I'm not even sure if I'm going to grab that one. And I'm not going to bother covering China, and I'm not going to bother covering France because they don't have full lines. I'm not going to cover bombers. There just is no bombers. Now, the one thing I can say, too, is the German line here. I'm not thrilled about the German ground attack line. But it really looks like the ME-329 is actually a pretty solid ground attacker. And it may be worth actually grabbing this plane. So there you go. That's the lines I would grind. Lines I would completely avoid, honestly. I don't know if I completely avoid them, but maybe wait till you're a more seasoned player. Is the FW-190 line. Because actually the BVs here are pretty damn good. And I've heard people talk highly about the TAs. I'm not sure the TAs are very specialized. It would definitely take a more experienced pilot to deal with the TAs. And that's the same way with the American fighter line. You got to be a more experienced pilot. Because problem with the American fighter line, with the P-40, it's got very competent firepower with 650 calibers, but then you lose 250 calibers and you lose a little bit of mobility with the P-51A, but it becomes a very good, solid, high-energy fighter with high-altitude performance. Same way with the D and the H. But the problem is once you get here, especially to the D, you're still running the same 50 cal machine guns through like the whole line, and those 50 cals just are big letdown. I would also ignore this line. I've had some people praise the Thunderjet here, but I don't know. The pain to go through this whole line, especially the P-47N. It's not an amazing plane by any stretch of the imagination. None of these planes really are. And really, to me, this line kind of stops being anything decent at the XP-44, which is the rocket. So that's about all I can say about the lines. There's no lines I would really recommend people to avoid. I would say to experiment, but those are like the most friendly lines to play. These early German GAs, I wouldn't waste my time with. But there's a lot of planes in the game right now. There's going to be more added, obviously, down the road. Some are pretty good, some are pretty shit. Each line has their gems. Experiment, learn what you like, and go from there. So there you go. Hopefully this will answer any questions, and if you have any other additional questions, obviously just put them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. All right, have a good one.